So most people know about the power of raw foods and how health promoting they are. And most people love pizza. So today I'm combining the two, making this delicious raw pesto pizza. And I even made it oil-free and gluten-free. And today I'm going to show you how to make your own. All right, so now the first thing we're going to do is talk about what we're going to use to make this crust. And I was very, very pleased when I made this the first time. I couldn't believe how good the crust is. Now, I made it several times since then. It never disappoints. It's full of flavor, great texture. You'll love this. And the best part of all, look at what we're using to make it. We're going to use some zucchini. Yes, zucchini to make crust. Red pepper. We're going to use some lemon juice. We're going to use some walnuts. We're going to use some ground chia seeds. We're going to use some hemp seeds, some sun-dried tomatoes, some garlic, oregano, and Italian seasoning. And then we're going to use some miso paste. Now you have a few different options for some of these ingredients. For example, I said that I use ground white chia seeds. You could also use black chia seeds instead. You could even use flax, ground flax for this if you wanted to. My preference is the chia seeds. For the walnuts, you could use another type of soft nut. So you could use pistachios or pecans. You don't want to use a hard nut like an almond, but another soft nut would work. Walnuts are the healthiest nuts, one of the healthiest foods there is on the planet. So I use them anytime I get a chance to. The miso, you could use nutritional yeast instead. I prefer the miso. So you do have some options here. Also want to mention about the sun-dried tomatoes. Now, I buy a brand that has no oil. No oil because I don't like them when they're soaked in oil. However, the sodium content is pretty high in sun-dried tomatoes. So I do the same thing I do with my olives because there will be olives on this pizza as well. And I have a video on my app talking about how to lessen the amount of sodium. Really straightforward and simple. I just take my sun-dried tomatoes or my olives, put them in a container, a glass container, and I soak them in water. And then I take and I, dump the water, rinse them really well, soak them again. And then just repeat and just rinse and soak a few times. And that really lessens the amount of sodium that they contain. Now, one last thing, after I rinse and soak, I then store them in the container, the original container, usually in more clean water. And so that just, eliminates even more sodium. And you can taste the difference. You pop an olive or sun-dried tomato after you've done that, and you can tell that there's very little sodium compared to normal sun-dried tomatoes or olives. So that's my little trick for lessening the amount of sodium to where I'm okay with it. So these are the super health promoting ingredients we're using to make a crust. Yes, zucchini and red peppers in a crust. If you make this, you will be amazed at how good it is, and you can see that it's health promoting. So let's start putting it together. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is put our crust together for the pizza. It might be my favorite part of the pizza. Again, all healthy ingredients to make this delicious crust. Let's get them in the processor and get it blended.
So this crust is very easy to put together. I'm just adding all of my ingredients to the food processor and processing it until it comes together into a thick, wet mixture. You'll still see the flecks of zucchini and peppers when it's done.
All right, so now I've got my mixture blended. Now what I'm gonna do, I've taken a couple of trays from my dehydrator and I've lined them with parchment paper. I'm gonna be taking my mixture, putting it onto the paper here, and then patting it out and molding it into an 8-inch pizza crust. I'm gonna do 2 of those. Dehydrating this enables me to cook it at a temperature where it can still be considered raw.
Okay, so now I'm dividing my mixture into half onto the parchment lined mesh trays from my dehydrator. I'm pressing each crust out into about 10-inch pizzas. I am also using my hands to form a ridge around the edge, then I'm getting them into the dehydrator.
All right, so now obviously my 2 pizza crusts are still in the dehydrator, but in the interest of making this video, I made a couple ahead of time, and these are they, and they look great. Now, once you make the crust, that's more than half the battle, because the only thing left to do when you're making a raw pizza, once we have this crust done, is to top it. And today I'm doing a Mediterranean style pizza. I'm gonna be topping this with some of my delicious pesto sauce, as well as some sun-dried tomatoes, olives, and red onions. Now, of course, there are no rules when it comes to pizza, soups, and salads. You can put whatever you want in them and on them. So that's what I'm doing today, but you can dress these up any old kind of way. The crust is what is amazing about this and exceptional. Once you have the crust done, get creative. but I'm gonna do this Mediterranean style pizza. So we're gonna slide these aside and we're gonna start putting together our delicious fresh pesto. One thing I just thought of, I didn't show you how the crusts are. So let's take a look at the crust. You can see here that they're flexible but still firm. They hold up well, you can kind of bend them, but these are really nice crusts. And what I like most about it is just the flavor. I mean, it's bursting with flavor, and you saw the healthy ingredients that go in it. I know I keep saying that, but I just love healthy food like this. So I wanted to show you that. Now let's slide them out and put together that pesto. All right, so time to put this pesto together. Now I have about 3 different pestos that I've posted. They're all delicious. What I'm using to make this one today is a combination of arugula and basil. Now, when you make this pesto sauce, you could use all basil or all arugula or a combination like I'm doing. It's really a matter of personal preference. I'm gonna use some pistachios. I'm gonna use a little bit of nutritional yeast, an avocado, and then some lemon juice, obviously. Now, my favorite of all pesto sauce that I make is actually in my cookbook. So if you have it, you've seen that. If you had it, you know it's delicious. If you haven't, check out my cookbook. You can see it there. But this one is great also. So let's put it together.
So to make the pesto, I'm just adding all the ingredients into my food processor and getting it nicely combined. Now you can adjust the consistency by adding small amounts of water if necessary.
Forgot to mention, gonna add a couple of cloves of garlic also. All right, so now I've got my pesto blended, it's ready to go. I have my other toppings ready also, keeping it very simple. Remember, this crust brings a lot of flavor, and so does the pesto, so you don't need a lot more to go with it. This is gonna be a delicious pizza with these toppings. Let's get our pesto on now.
If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe below.
Okay, so now I have my pesto put on the pizza. Now it's just a matter of adding my other toppings, and we are done.
So I'm topping my pizza with some sliced red onion, tomatoes that I dehydrated, and some olives. But of course, you can get creative and use any toppings you prefer.
All right, our pizza is done and all put together, and it took basically no time. Once it's dehydrated, as you see, putting it together is a breeze, and look how beautiful it is. Now one thing left, and that's to give it a taste, for you, of course. This is really good pizza. I know I say everything is good. I'm telling you, the flavor here is amazing. The crust alone has great flavor. The pesto brings even more flavor. They blend perfectly. Just tastes like something you would get at a high-end restaurant. You know, just a really well done pizza. So if you're a fan of raw food or a pizza or just making your own, any of the 3 or all 3, gotta make this one. You'll be thanking me later. Make your own. All right, if you're new to my channel and you're wondering how to find the recipes, look below the video and tap on the word more and you'll see the beginning of the recipe. Tap on the word more a second time and you'll see the full recipe, and then you can begin to make your own. Thanks for watching.